So, woke up this morning and was reminded of a reading that I'd done a while back. It was basically between a couple, both living or considered to be, and they'd been going through a divorce or they had divorced, and there was a lot of residual energy around that, i.e., she couldn't stand him. She wanted to get her fair share of what she felt was her fair share of his money. He is considered a wealthy man, and she wanted to hit him where it hurt, which for her was the purse. But anyway, point of the matter is that I thought that was the end of it. I thought it was just a random reading, but it seems that there is a part two to this reading. And so I'm going to do that. Essentially, what happened was the man had many unspoken words that were going through his head, enough so for them to be received by me in tarot language. What I mean by that is that as he was speaking, all these images were coming to me, tarot images, basically compiling his story. And as I'd completed this grid of what I'd seen of his story, I got confirmation saying, yes, that's it. Can you please share these words with her? Because I haven't had the opportunity to do that. And I would love for her to know this, regardless of what the outcome is for us in terms of whether we get on as friends or not after this. But just knowing that she receives it from an avenue and platform that she is quite used to. What I mean by that is that she consults the tarot quite a lot. She consults a lot of readers, and the main question is, why did he leave? Why did he leave? Why did he leave? And so he is now answering through tarot so that she can, in some way, take comfort from the language that she understands and the language that she seems to not understand when conveyed by him in the spoken English word. So essentially, I'm mediating between this couple, and hopefully, this will give her some sort of closure um, as to why he left, even though he's saying, look, I actually don't need an explanation. I don't need to give you an explanation. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I don't think that anything that I say would satisfy you, because it's not about why I left, it's that I left you. And that's really where the pain point is for you. And if you receive it from someone who speaks what you feel is the gifted language, then I hope that it will in some way help you to see above the mess that is being created in these crosswords and these arguments that we're having over what really isn't the actual heart of the matter. So anyway, so let's do this. So basically, this is who he is speaking to. This is the woman who is consulting in a variety of ways, different divination systems as a way to get the answer. But it's not the answer that she's looking for. It's not actually the answer because she's been given the answer several times. It's what satisfies my ears. What is it that I want to hear? But she's never going to hear what she wants to hear because it's not the truth. And so she keeps repeatedly going to um tarot readers, and I don't know what the other disciplines are, but I know for sure tarot is the biggest one that she keeps going for because it's not giving her what she wants. Now this isn't no way to is it denigrate? No way basically to make her look bad. I don't mean it in that way, but this is something that seems to have become regular for me. Men basically running from the women who use the same tool as I do, to basically try to get them to understand where they're coming from. I think it's counseling in some way. Right. So anyway, so this woman is persistently consulting over the heartbreak that I've just addressed and spoken of, and why he has left her. She had a very romanticized image of what the family looks like, found in the Ten of Cups. And this is where his message starts, essentially. So he's saying these four cards are basically around the situation as it stands and how he sees it with her, saying that the Queen of Pentacles, she is persistently consulting and therefore stuck. She's stuck in a mentality and mindset that no longer serves her because she is adamant that she is in the right, therefore someone must be in the wrong. She has been wronged, therefore he is the wrongdoer. So it will always generate and regenerate that type of negativity because she's sitting in it, and it's become so much so that she's almost comfortable with it. It's almost as though she doesn't feel that she has the drive or energy unless it's directed at him. and in the way that it suits her right now, which is a way of anger, which is understandable, absolutely understandable. I'm sure there are many that can relate to that, but is it helpful? Is it useful? Probably not. So what he's saying is when it came to the Two of Pentacles, he found himself, um, I suppose, reminiscing over their getting together, over their reasons for getting together. And he was saying that basically they were teens when they got together. And it's not to say that people who get together in their teens are in any way destined to fail at all. But what he was saying was we got together as teens out of desperation. And it may have been what looked to be puppy love at the time, but really what it was they were each trying in their own way to escape the families that they were from. Not to say that their families were in any way bad. It was just that they each had aspirations that they felt they could find quicker in each other. And that they did, except they never knew themselves when entering these dreams, and dreams is what they were. Yes, they were fortunate enough to see fragments of the success that came with those dreams, but it came at the detriment of a relationship that had been built on dream rather than reality. And all they'd had was the template found in the Six of Cups of those who had come before them, which was the template of their parents, each of their parents' relationships, which again were not bad, but they were not the dream that they actually wanted for themselves. Yes, there may have been respect, if you call it that, within the relationships that they based their relationship upon. Yes, there may have been a bit of trust, but it was always conditional. There was always something taken from another, something given from another. And where he is right now, he's saying that's not love. It's not love. You can have these characteristics and traits and features of what we call love, but love is all encompassing. It's not even about being real and true. Love is pure. It's pure, which means you take everything in its entirety, regardless of what that looks like. And the love part of it means that you don't actually see it as a separation of the whole anyway. And so it's not even about, well, I love you regardless. There is no regardless. It's just, I love you, plain and simple. I love. I love. It's 100%. I don't see the crooked teeth. I don't see the outside. It's, I am me with you. And that's essentially what he was searching for, which is why he left. Because when he was doing his weighing up with the Two of Pentacles, he was saying that basically I found myself becoming less and less of me and more of what you wanted me to be. And again, it's not about placing blame. He's trying to be as honest as he can. And it may sound like it's blaming, but he's saying that I didn't really understand who I was. I didn't really understand the frustration that can come with fighting against who you are simply to fit in who you wanted me to be. So anyway, so he's saying that basically that template that each of you had was very conventional, and it was very much about the woman doesn't necessarily stay at home, but the woman eventually mothers the partner. And he was saying I became a lot more submissive. I came to you for approval, for validation, and it suited you because that's the dynamic that worked for us, and it robbed you of an actual partnership, an actual equal partnership. And essentially what happened was you became more frustrated, or this is how I see it anyway, you became more frustrated with being a mum to me. And I met that role with that frustration. It became a kind of a supply and demand, a reward system found in the Six of Pentacles. And he keeps saying I found, but I want her to know this. He was saying, I found that we were arguing more and more about the things that didn't matter simply because we were trying to mask and hide the things that did matter. And this is found in the Four of Cups and the Five of Cups. So he basically looked at what he wanted in his life, and admittedly, he's saying, look, I didn't do it straight away, in that I didn't make the decision straight away. In fact, I really did procrastinate a lot. And I didn't serve you in that. And that probably is the biggest regret that I had, is that I didn't wait. Or sorry, that I did wait. Yeah, that I did wait. But not because I wanted to run from you, but just because it became torture for us both. So this is found in the Ten of Wands. So then the Six of Swords is showing his leaving. And prior to that leaving, if you see the Ten of Wands as the fire part of the relationship or the fire part for self, the Six of Swords takes it into cooler and calmer waters to the point where almost being frozen. There was an emotional stagnation that occurred for the two of them. And he's saying this is all so incredibly pronoun mixed. He's saying you, as in if I'm him, I'm saying it to her. You probably won't admit to this because you are such a maternal type and you are so incredibly warm, and you wouldn't want to be seen to be involved in anything that was any less than that. But I'll hold my hands up. I'll take responsibility for it if that's what we need to do to get by and to get past this. I want you to know that yes, it did cool. It cooled a lot, like to the point where we were neglecting each other on a simple human needs level, i.e., we could go for days without speaking. And that type of stress, that type of tension was just, it was killing me essentially. And I'm pretty sure if that was what was happening to me, it must have been happening to you. We'd gotten so far into avoidance that we literally backed ourselves into this like freezer like corner, this like refrigerator of just like frozen emotion. And there wasn't even enough spark left in terms of our drive to fight for something that we believed in. We put it all outside of ourselves and just like kept up the game, kept up the face that like really wasn't doing either one of us any good at all. So when I did leave, I'm him now. When I did leave with the Six of Swords, that's when I left before I left, is what he's saying. So he's saying basically, I left emotionally way before I actually physically left. But when I did physically leave, and you saw those changes in me, which are shown in the Four of Swords, with the meditation and with the difference in temperament, that was essentially me becoming comfortable with myself, becoming more intuitive, becoming more in tune with myself. It was probably one of the greatest creative periods in my life because it meant that I had to face and address everything for myself. Up until that point, it had been literally a handover from my actual mother to you as my mother. And in the meantime, there was still this rebellious boy who was wanting to just be loved for who he was. Now, I'm saying as me and not him, that I think that we all have that, regardless of what gender we are, regardless of age. We just want to be ourselves with whoever it is that we are. We want to trust to the point where we can just be ourselves without worry of comeback, without there being some sort of consequence to maybe that outburst, maybe that look of love that might be weaponized against us. And depending upon our backgrounds and depending upon that reward system that comes in the Six of Pentacles, you can sometimes feel as though you're always holding something back, always holding something back. But he'd gotten to the point with the meditation and the release that came with that I don't want to hold back anymore. And I appreciate that I've been blessed with this relationship to the point that I'm at. And I'll take that blessing. I thank you for that blessing. I thank you for the time that we've had together. But I think that that's literally a station on the road, on the journey that I'm meant for. And I don't think that that journey was meant to be holding your hand at all. Okay, this is where it gets a bit murky. So he's saying, and that's when I met her. So in that reading, basically what happened was he'd become so spiritually evolved, if you like, that he was actually in remote contact with another person. This woman is a very skilled, oh, excuse me, I'm scratching my chest here, my heart chakra, a very skilled and talented and a very aligned personality, one that aligns with his extremely well, to the point where he really did feel he'd found not just his soulmate, but like his whole. And he's saying that basically that's when he realized that's love, because it was so much to the point that he didn't have to project any of himself onto anyone else or anything else, that he was able to have this spiritual, like literally this spiritual marriage with someone who he'd never physically met but knew that she was there, is is something that he knows that this lady in the Queen of Pentacles may find it hard to accept, but he's saying, I absolutely guarantee I did not cheat on you with her. I've never cheated on you with her. I will hold my hands up and say, yes, I have cheated. I'm not going to lie, but I mean, we are both aware, and I'm being him now, we are both aware that that has happened. But I'm saying that it's not her that I did it with. And that's another indicator of love for him. Now, he probably doesn't want me to say this to her as in the other woman, the Queen of Pentacles, because it will pee her off. But he's saying, look, this is something that you must understand. I need you to understand, not for me to move on, but for you to move on, is that I did find love, and I found it in a space that is just full of potential. You can't attack something and someone that you don't actually know or see. Well, you probably can, but like he's saying, look, you're ready to kill this woman basically, but I've not even met her, so I don't see why your anger is being vented at her. And then he's saying, well, actually, I do see why your anger is vented at her, because I can see that you thinking about me and me leaving you and me showing love for something different to you, you've taken that as a direct rejection, which I'm not going to lie, as me, I can see how that could happen. But he's saying, I was never, I don't want to be harsh or cruel, but I was never you with me. I was never me with you. Sorry. I was never me with you because I didn't know me. And so I couldn't have been me with you. And so when you direct your arrows at her, the high priestess, essentially what you're doing is you're aiming at something that doesn't exist in the sphere that we shared together, because I wasn't me. She only sees me when I'm me. And that's what happens with the meditation. I'm with you, I was always being somebody else. We had this mirror between us of performing as had those before us performed. We had this mirror of pretense essentially. And so you do, I do, I do, you do. And it just became a repetitive echo, a reverb of inauthenticity is essentially what he's saying. So now here he gets a bit more emotional, and he's saying, look, I know you felt rejected with the Five of Pentacles, and I know you felt almost out of sorts, because this is a role that you were taught to play for many years, for your whole existence. And I too was conditioned to behave in the conventional way that we saw our parents behave in. But now I'm saying I'm taking mastery, I'm taking hold of myself, I'm taking responsibility for myself, and I want to show you as best I can the love that I have experienced, so that I can, excuse me a moment, I want to show you the love that I've experienced so that you are able to get that for yourself. This is found in the Two of Cups. So he's saying, I know that this Two of Cups, me with the High Priestess, the Magician and the High Priestess, I know that this winds you up. I know that you're angered by it. And I know that you're angered with the Knight of Swords, the Page of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. You feel aggression. You feel cheated. You feel robbed of the fairy tale that you thought that we had. This Nine of Wands, this is where it gets, again, a bit murkier. He's saying, okay, I don't want our daughter to experience this in the way that we as the adults are experiencing it. I don't want her to experience it at all, but it's a reality, it's happening. But I don't want her to be affected negatively in the way that, by the way that we're communicating, which is really poor right now. I want our princess in our Two of Swords to not be afraid and to learn. I don't want her to learn from the cage that her parents were too afraid to open the doors for. I want her to have the freedom that I now feel. But I also want you, in this gift of the Ace of Pentacles, to have that freedom as well. I want you to find you. This hedge with the Ace of Pentacles, if you look carefully at the hedge line, you can see through that kind of face shape that there's a mountain. It's basically saying, I want you to put the face of love on yourself. I want you to have self-love, essentially. The Pentacles, besides being about resources, can be about auras as well, about finding true self, bringing all the five senses together, the 4 points of the compass, all of that, bringing it all into the whole, giving your self-reflection that empty face. Is very similar to the death card in the Lightseers Tarot, the transformation, basically saying, I want you to see you with the beauty that you deserve to see yourself with, and I cannot give that to you because I didn't see beauty in myself. And so if we were mirroring each other, how am I going to tell you and make you know how incredibly beautiful and absolutely wonderful and amazing and so incredible? How am I to tell you that if I don't see that in myself? But also, if I'm not the one for you, then I'm not the right mirror for you either. So I will tell you you're incredible, awesome, amazing, wonderful, but you're never going to believe it because you don't see you in what it is that I'm saying. And I'm going to be honest, I don't see you in what it is that I'm saying because I'm now finding me. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, so he's saying, I gift this to you. I want you to have this. I know you want the money, and that's absolutely fine. We'll work that out. But what I want to give you that is far more valuable is you back, because you never had it in the first place. And that's something that I have taken time to learn. And I hope you also get that time to do that. With the temperance, he's saying, I give you from my cup. I give you from my cup the lessons that I've learned. Whether you choose to take it or not is entirely up to you. But what I give you is the lessons that I learned without the pain of those lessons. And I think together we can agree that this has been an incredibly painful experience. But what I've journeyed through since then has also been incredibly painful. And whatever ways that I can help you to get to the highest and best without by avoiding the worst, then I certainly gift that to you. I want you to master yourself. You have an amazing outlook. You are an absolutely brilliant person to be around. You have such an incredible way with people. And I truly wish that I was one of those people. But I realize now that when I was bringing you down, that was really me in part not being myself. So you were only ever getting half of me. But half of me meant that you were also settling for half of yourself. And so I want you to cut through the noise of what you called our breakup. I want you to cut through to the truth of what it is that this really is about. And it's about two people hanging on to something that was on a shaky foundation to start with, because we didn't even know how far the foundation went into the ground. That's the best analogy I can come up with right now. So he's basically saying the Queen of Swords, that freedom that comes from cutting those chains, those links, oh, I had my hands tied. Neither one of us has our hands tied. What I'm essentially gifting you is freedom. And even though it may look as though it's rejection right now, it truly is freedom. It's freedom to go find that person who is your mirror, to go find that person who is for you. And the best way that I've found to do that is to be you. Because when you love yourself, all that comes with that will find its way to you. And that will include the person that completes that pie, that fills that hole, that someone, literally, that person who will show you the sum of all your parts. But you need to see those parts to do that. And that comes in the world card. I want you to see yourself in your naked beauty. And if it's a case of allowing yourself to scream, shout, kick, do all the things that you stop yourself from doing because you think that it will make you a bad girl or take you away from the image that must be had of somebody who is oh so together, and just be you. Be you. That is the gift that I hope you receive, is to just be you.
So come on, let it go, go. Just let it be. Why don't you be you? I'll explore. Leave it to the breeze. And why don't you be you?